this is a structure that I use in almost all of my work called Deflected Wefts. And basically, I threaded the loom in a specific pattern that allows me to create this undulating wiggle with the silver cord. And then I weave this black linen yarn in the background and sort of creates this dimensional netted structure. And I'm weaving it on, you can tell it's kind of like an invisible thread, which is called monofilament. It's basically the same thing as fishing line. It's super strong, and it allows you to basically have this clear synthetic skin that will embrace any sort of material, and it won't alter the color, so you can get really clear, contrasting color combinations and material contrast. And I like to use monofilament in a lot of my work. And these harnesses are raising based on the foot pedals down below. So I've been doing this for so long that I don't need to really follow the pattern. I just know how to create the structure. Yeah, I just do these material samplers. So I'm kind of at the beginning of this project, and what I'll do is I'll set up a long warp. This is the warp, these yarns, the vertical ones. I'll set up a long, narrow warp, and I'll weave a bunch of small pieces so I can release the tension. And you can see that I actually have a few small going. So here it's just like multiple different iterations of sort of combining two very different types of materials together to create sort of this material contrast. So you have this very synthetic looking silver that I found in the garment district, and then I have this natural sisal twine. And I like to sort of put together very contrasting materials to kind of create this tension between the two of them. And then this one's another iteration of this structure, but you can see when you look closely, it actually mutates in little areas. So you can see the structure gets finer here, and then it kind of breaks up here into this wiggly line, and it's kind of cracking and bursting, and then here it's sort of creating this new pattern. And so I like to sort of use the loom's limits to create different sorts of mutations to the line, almost in ways that feel both industrial, but it also feels natural, like something that would happen in like a cholla cactus skeleton. Just these strange little anomalies. This is something I did at school. That piece is over 10 years old, and I really like to layer different weave structures together and create very dimensional sculptural surfaces. And so here you have this synthetic, almost like a net encasing a natural, it's sort of like a root system. And I really like putting those things up against each other and sort of analyzing the tension there. this flat file here, which stores even more explorations and sort of pieces of works from the past that I kind of snipped off a end of the warp. And you can see this is like my color drawer. These are older pieces, sort of when I was forming my ideas and really playing around with the basic structure that I use, which is called Deflected Wefts. And so a lot of these are just using sisal twine from the hardware store because it was easy to access. These are some black and whites, just like endless stuff. So these works are really fun because they're made with that fishing line, which is transparent. So you can kind of see this skeleton structure when you hold it up to the light. And so some pieces are wall pieces. Like this one I kind of see more as a wall, but then this one here is definitely meant to hang in space and be seen backlit, either from a natural source or from just like an artificial lighting source. And then also it's meant to hang in space so that you can see the back of it, which you can check it out. It's basically the inverse. So you have these holes coming out here in the front, and then they spill out into this sort of really raw, fibrous waterfall. Yeah, so I've always just been a collector of natural objects, and I like to show the Choya skeleton because it's just such an obvious, has such an obvious relationship with my work. I like to sort of, it's a skeleton basically of a cactus, and I like to look at how plants structure themselves for survival, sort of looking at structure within a structure and seeing how I can sort of do that within my weaving work. You can see these pieces that have the holes. It's sort of also that micro and macro that you see in the cactus skeleton. And yeah, I really like kind of layering weaving techniques. So here you have the small scale deflected weft pattern, which is almost like the microstructure that's making up this almost like a skin, and then overlaying it with these voids, these holes, which are done manually while it's on the loom to create almost like a way for the fabric to breathe. And it brings sort of the two-dimensional quality of a textile into the three-dimensional realm.